Imagine losing everyone you've ever loved. Your best friend doesn't know you. The girl you love has forgotten you. Your entire existence has effectively been erased. Now, imagine trying to fill that emptiness by becoming Spider-Man 24 hours a day. According to a massive Spider-Man Brand New Day plot leak that's currently circulating online, that's exactly where Marvel's next Spider-Man movie begins. And if this leak is even partially true, Tom Holland's fourth Spider-Man film could become the darkest Spider-Man story ever put on screen. Before we begin, remember that this is still a rumored leak. Marvel and Sony haven't officially confirmed these plot details, and many leak reports in the past have turned out to be inaccurate. However, what's interesting is that several elements from trailers and industry reports appear to line up with parts of this story. So let's dive into what might be waiting for Peter Parker in Spider-Man Brand New Day. The story reportedly picks up shortly after the ending of No Way Home. The world remembers Spider-Man, but nobody remembers Peter Parker. And according to the leak, Peter responds to this tragedy in the worst way possible. He completely abandons his personal life. No friendships, no relationships, no social life. Just Spider-Man. The leak claims Peter spends nearly every waking hour patrolling New York, stopping crimes and hunting criminals. Not because he loves being Spider-Man, but because stopping means facing the loneliness waiting underneath the mask. This actually aligns with comments from Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige, who recently said Brand New Day will focus on classic Spider-Man elements, including Peter living alone in a small apartment and spending his days fighting street-level crime. One of the most emotional details in the leak is that Peter allegedly narrates parts of the film as if he's talking to MJ. Not real conversations, just imaginary ones, confessions she'll never hear. It's heartbreaking because Peter convinces himself he's protecting MJ and Ned by staying away. But in reality, he's isolating himself. And that's where the entire movie begins. The leak describes a montage sequence where Peter rapidly takes down multiple criminals and villains: Boomerang, Tarantula, Rhino, Chameleon, and several others. The point isn't that these villains matter. The point is that Peter is becoming addicted to being Spider-Man. He's replacing human connection with endless responsibility. And from the outside, everything looks perfect. Crime rates drop. People love Spider-Man. The city feels safer. But another group isn't impressed: the Department of Damage Control. According to the leak, DODC begins viewing Spider-Man as something dangerous. Not a hero, a variable, an uncontrollable force operating outside the system. And that tension becomes one of the movie's biggest conflicts. This is where the leak starts getting really interesting. Peter's powers reportedly begin malfunctioning. At first it's subtle: missed swings, delayed reactions, mistimed movements. Then things get worse. His webbing reportedly starts becoming organic. Not mechanical, not engineered, organic. Something inside Peter is changing. Interestingly, recent trailer speculation and reports have also pointed toward a possible transformation storyline involving organic webs and biological changes. The leak claims Peter becomes more aggressive during fights, more violent, more emotional. His powers begin responding to his feelings instead of his intentions. And slowly, Peter starts losing control. Not because of a villain, because of stress, because of loneliness, because he's been running from his life for too long. Now we reach one of the biggest rumored reveals: Sadie Sink. Officially, Marvel still hasn't confirmed who she's playing. Multiple reports and fan theories suggest Jean Grey, but that remains speculation. According to the leak, she is Jean Grey, and she's being hunted. The Department of Damage Control reportedly views mutants as a new threat category. Jean spends most of the movie avoiding capture, while trying to expose what DODC is really doing. But here's the twist: she's not alone. She's protected by Frank Castle, the Punisher, That immediately creates one of the strangest team-ups in MCU history. Jean Grey and Punisher. And naturally, Spider-Man gets caught in the middle. The leak claims the movie's true mastermind isn't Scorpion, it isn't DODC, and it isn't Jean. It's Tombstone, a criminal strategist who understands one thing better than anyone else. Fear creates opportunity. While Spider-Man, Punisher, Jean Grey, and DODC are busy fighting each other, Tombstone quietly expands his criminal empire. And to create even more chaos, he allegedly funds The Hand, the infamous ninja organization. Their mission? Attack DODC facilities, destabilize the city, and free one particular prisoner, Mac Gargan, the future Scorpion. One of the biggest action sequences reportedly involves a heavily armored DODC convoy transporting Gargan. The Hand launches a coordinated assault. Spider-Man intervenes. Punisher joins the battle. Everything spirals out of control. Vehicles crash, the convoy is destroyed, and Gargan escapes. This moment reportedly marks a major turning point. DODC loses credibility. Spider-Man receives more blame, and Tombstone's plan begins working perfectly, because chaos is exactly what he wanted. The prison battle that follows pushes Peter beyond his limits. His powers malfunction. Aggression increases. His webbing misfires. And for the first time in years, Spider-Man is forced to retreat. The Punisher literally saves him. That failure becomes the moment Peter realizes something is deeply wrong. And there's only one person who might understand. Bruce Banner. Banner reportedly discovers that Peter isn't dying. He's evolving. Years of emotional suppression, constant stress, constant responsibility, and non-stop Spider-Man activity have triggered a biological transformation. The leak describes one of the wildest moments ever rumored for an MCU movie. Peter becomes encased inside a giant cocoon made entirely of organic webbing. Inside that cocoon, his body begins mutating. Extra limbs, animalistic behavior, enhanced instincts. Peter Parker slowly starts becoming Man-Spider. Fans have speculated about an adaptation of elements from Spider-Man's comic storyline, The Other. And recent trailer discussions have fueled those theories. Meanwhile, Tombstone upgrades Mac Gargan into the fully realized Scorpion. And according to the leak, their fight becomes one of the movie's biggest set pieces. Rooftops, streets, alleyways, massive destruction. Spider-Man eventually wins, but then his mutation resurfaces, his body fails, and Scorpion escapes. The city witnesses something terrifying. Spider-Man isn't just vulnerable, he's unstable. Just when things couldn't get worse, Bruce Banner reportedly starts falling apart too. Years of control finally crack. A new personality emerges, Grey Hulk. Not the calm, smart Hulk, not the classic Hulk. Something in between. Angrier, more dangerous, less predictable. The city descends into complete chaos. Suddenly, DODC's fears don't seem entirely irrational anymore. The leak claims the climax brings together every major player. Spider-Man, Punisher, Jean Grey, Bruce Banner, Grey Hulk, and eventually Man-Spider himself. Peter completely loses control. He transforms fully. No suit, no mask, no humanity. Just instinct, just rage, just survival. The fight isn't about defeating Peter. It's about saving him. And according to the leak, Jean Grey becomes the key. Instead of physically stopping Peter, she forces him to confront the truth he's been avoiding since No Way Home. Spider-Man alone isn't enough. Peter Parker matters too. The human side of him isn't a weakness. It's the thing keeping him grounded. Once Peter finally accepts that truth, the mutation begins reversing, and Peter regains control. After everything he's endured, Peter finally does something he's avoided for the entire movie. He seeks out MJ, not as Spider-Man, as Peter Parker. The leak claims MJ is now dating Harry Osborn. And instead of trying to win her back, Peter simply tells her the truth. Everything. It's not a reunion, it's closure. Then Ned returns. Not as a magical reset, not as a restoration of the past, but as the beginning of something new. A brand new day. Peter finally understands that Spider-Man only works when Peter Parker exists too. And that's the lesson he nearly had to become a monster to learn. But Marvel apparently isn't done. According to the leak's post-credits scene, Tombstone meets a mysterious buyer. A vial is placed on the table. Inside, the symbiote. Not for Peter Parker. For Scorpion. If true, this could set up one of Spider-Man's most terrifying villains ever. A symbiote-powered Scorpion. A creature with all of Venom's brutality and none of Peter's restraint. And that could become Spider-Man's next nightmare. Now remember, none of this has been officially confirmed. Some pieces align with existing trailers and industry rumors, while other details sound almost too ambitious to be real. But if even half of this leak ends up being true, Spider-Man Brand New Day might become the most emotional and psychologically complex Spider-Man movie we've ever seen. What do you think? Would you want to see Peter become Man-Spider? Do you think Sadie Sink is actually playing Jean Grey? And would a symbiote Scorpion make a better villain than Venom? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us here on the Vibe Audit for more Marvel news, leaks, theories, and deep dives.